The new Volkswagen Amarok facelift with the new V6. That is today on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. We have the special edition launch model called Aventura. That's Spanish for adventure, and also with those special headlights here in the top. I picked that one on purpose, even though it might not make sense for me, but makes sense for being cool. So we take a look at the exterior, the interior and the driving on-road and off-road, of course. Everything about this new V6 diesel engine, because here they are upsizing, not downsizing. What's behind that and behind everything else will now be on Autogefühl in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go. The new styling with this extensive product update is all about angular design. You see it here with the new headlights. Everything looks stronger, more masculine, and for this segment I think it's also a right choice. Ravenna Blue Metallic is the color here, and as I said, the special launch model called Aventura, and this one has also stronger lower bumpers here in the sporty style and also in the side profile. You see another special thing. And here they are, those special 20-inch rims in a two-color scheme. It starts with 17-inch from standard equipment because the brake discs have been dimensioned a little bit wider, and therefore you cannot start with smaller rims. And these ones here optional, of course, with the launch model. Starting price, taking German prices as a reference, 30,000 euros with a base model, and then 55,000 with this top version here with all-wheel drive and also the biggest available horsepower variant. We'll come more to the deals there very soon. 5 meters 25 or 17 foot 2. That is the total length of the car. Here you see in the double cab version for the most passenger space and comfort. But you can, for example, also get for the single cab version. Then you have more loading area. Might be an option for me. I'll tell you later why. Here, with those special lights, we can take a detailed look at them. Those are replacing the high beam in the front, so you cannot have both. This one is definitely suitable for the Australian Outback, for example. And then this part here, it's called Sports Bar. It's a new option. It's just the visual stuff, and makes the car even look a little bit more prominent. Also with the special Aventura Compass logo we have here in the rear. Then goes on to the classic pickup style, angular shapes, because it has to be very versatile and a lot of stuff should be on there, of course. The facelift has also altered the rear. The lights you see, they are again more angular than before, and I think overall the styling really great for a pickup. Or what's your opinion? Put me that in the comments. And of course a kind of Thomas blue here for the car, perfect to me. Huge Volkswagen logo in here, also the Amarok sign, all pretty big, say I'm a rough car. Then I can close the hatch here normally with the standard key. Be closed and open, and you can also drive just with the open one, because when we have the double cab now, would my motocross bike or my mountain bike fit on there? Mountain bike, no problem. Motocross bike, you have to put that one down and leave it down also while driving. Then it would probably fit, but maybe the single cab version would be the better solution for me then, and have a longer loading area. Not here as said with the double cabin. A Euro pallet can fit on here, as for the width, that's no problem. And there are special covers available, different ones, and also a closed cabin, so different possibilities you have here. This one here works with this kind of rope, so you can open and close it with the rope. Interesting concept. And then you can pull it right there, and then you have the open space here. everything also from a rough material. And to get it back, you know, that you don't have to climb in, you can use it in, like, you know, to put in a fishing net. So, like this, and then, you've seen the raindrops, and then pull it to the left side and close it again. And here's a solution to close the upper part here, turning knob. You have to turn it sideways, and then you cannot open it at the top part here anymore. Then it's fixed. You see it right here, and when you open it, then you can slide it down again. Here you can close it, and then you can also close the lower part right here. If you then close it with the key, here and here, then both parts are fixed and you have your stuff secured. So let's take a detailed look at the loading cam. You see here, when I pull it right, then I can pull it all the way open. Here it is now, looks very versatile, the loading compartment. When you have this cover mounted, you lose a little bit of length here as well. So I will probably go without it, you know, for my two-wheel off-road drive actions. And then you also have fixations for tension belts, right here, for example, and also one in the very back of the car. Interesting here, by the way, to get the rain dropping down from the top part here. You know, there's a special loop that puts the rain to the lower part of the car. Very interesting. And here, of course, the lower part has also the back wheel of my motocross bike should fit on there. I can also sit in there, so that's also a stable solution. It has to be. And we also have a 12-volt power supply here in the rear. And now, what's the news here underneath the hood? This is the new V6 engine. It's also being used at Audi, by the way. And this one here is kind of the cheapest way to enter a Volkswagen Corporation V6 TDI world. Beforehand, we had the R4, so 4-cylinder, 2-liter diesel, and well, the 2-liter TDI had some, let's say, bad press. So maybe good choice to go for the V6 now. And indeed, you know, if you also consider environmental factors, this one here not downsizing, it's upsizing, but they don't draw so much horsepower from it. For example, at Audi, they get 272 horsepower, for example, from the V6 diesel. And here they said, okay, we take less horsepower from the diesel to make it more durable. Let it run at lower RPMs, let it run at lower torque. I think that's quite a good choice. Different horsepower variants available, 163, 204 and 224. This one here, the top variant, 224. The entry level you can also get just with rear-wheel drive, and then you can optionally get the all-wheel drive as well. The top variant just with all-wheel drive, 4Motion, so then rear plus front on demand. And you can also get manual gearbox, then also with an off-road gear reduction, and the automatic gearbox 8-speed. This one is combined then here with a top engine version with 224 horsepower. It's converter gearbox, you know, to make it tough here definitely for a pickup. And well, you don't need an off-road reduction here because the automatic gearbox can rule that all on its own. And we also have, for example, hill descent control, and this will also give us good off-road features we're going to test on our own, of course, later on where we drive. And about the consumption, well, it's, you know, just right below 8 liters on the official figures, but you know, usually they are in real life consumption way above that. Will it also be the case here when we have upsized engine but a little bit less horsepower? Really looking forward to that when we do our road test driving. I can tell that maybe the surprise later on with the consumption, so stay tuned for that, because we have already had very small engines with a lot of horsepower that were like here in the consumption. Maybe it's different here. Let's see. This is the car key, pretty simple. Open it right there. Okay, no, of course you could use the manual one. Then doors, very solid, good closing sound. Also like, you know, this small gap here feels very good. Then you see those side steps we have here. They are really very dirty, but we're very cool, you know, in the visual part. Then the cockpit here from the side part. There are different options. It's for the seat. It starts with cloth, and then there are also leatherette options available and Alcantara options. Go for those ones. Here in the Aventura special launch model, only the full genuine leather is available, sadly. But you know, as said, there are plenty of other options available. They have redesigned the cockpit a little bit to make it more passenger car-alike, so it's not the typical truck style. We will also present you the infotainment system in detail very soon. There you can see it. They have updated it to normal passenger cars. And it was also interesting, well, we don't have the highest build quality here. For example, this is also from hard plastic, but they have created a surface that feels and also looks good. So overall, we got a good, solid interior build quality. Then let's get inside on those new Ergo comfort seats. And they are indeed very comfortable, no matter of the surface now. You got a very upright seating position, a good visibility to all of the sides. That's very notable. And you know, through different features, for example, the steering wheel we know, and the instruments, and also the multimedia system, you more feel like in a Volkswagen passenger car. And that's also one secret. Already from the first impression, you don't feel, you know, that you're in a totally different segment. So this one is a good pickup if you're, you know, don't want this huge truck feeling. You sit upright, you sit high, and you know, it's a strong car, yes, but it's also no problem to make a transition, for example, from a normal passenger car to this car, and you already feel it when you're taking the first seat. Cockpit overview. By the way, the seats, they are adjustable in an electric way here in the top trim level. Also works with the lower trim level where they are in the manual control, of course. Then what I can see in front, in instruments, for example, tells me that the next service will be due in about 38,000 kilometers. And wow, that's a wide span, and they could do that because, what I've told you with the engine, with the V6, putting the power not at the highest peak, you know, have more displacement, but not so much power. Therefore, also the service spans, the intervals, are longer. So it's also good for the customer. In general, you see, it's really rather a passenger car layout, but we have more angular forms, so I think it really fits very well the exterior of the car with some, well, not really aluminum parts, they are plastic, but aluminum style. Again, you know, in the commercial vehicle sector, so we don't have to expect the highest, finest materials, but what they've made here from using rough materials like this, I've explained it, and still make it, you know, attractive in the visual part and also quite solid when touching them. Difference from Volkswagen passenger cars you can only find in very details done. For example, here at the armrest at the Volkswagen passenger car, you could not move it around here, right to the left. It would be higher fixed, and also like this, by the way, great space inside. But here like this, it would slide down, or maybe will stay up here. So that's the basic difference, where you don't have the highest build quality here in the commercial vehicle from Volkswagen. But again, everything from rather solid materials, and so it overall still makes a good impression. Beverage holders, they're not adaptive, kept simple as well. Then another storage space in the front, for example, mobile phone, also the USB supply is in there, 12 volt power supply right here. Then also the glove box, another detail, you see it's just falling down and not sliding down. Those ones are details where you can save some money, that you don't make a car that expensive. You know, that's the basic difference in two really more comfortable passenger cars. And storage space at the inside of the doors, also quite spacious there. And for your glasses up here with a little bit different system here to fold them down as well. Instruments, you see here when I close the door, oh, look at that small icon from the Amarok. Isn't it nice? Very neat icon, and even with the open pickup cargo space, very nicely done. Then when I turn on the ignition, you see here this flipping of the arrows and or you know, needle jump, or however you want to call it. This is a new feature they have put in here. So also very interesting. Then in the middle you have the digital screen where you can put on, you know, driving features, music, GPS information, also phone, Bluetooth connection, or also the bar pressure of the tires, for example. Standard Volkswagen layout. And we also have a manual cruise control here, not with ACC, but here you can set it left at the steering wheel. Initially you've seen this special high beam at the top of the car. So here on auto mode for the normal lights, that doesn't really work. You can just flash them. Only if you can put it on, you know, manually on the lights. So if they are always on, then you just use the second lever above here. And well, flashing the top lights would be like this. And then you can also pull it to the front. And then you can see it also stays on. See the blue light? And that wouldn't be working if you're in the auto mode. Then you can just flash them. And as I said, as you put the lights on manually, then you can always leave it on as well. Infotainment screen, this has been redesigned. You can see here, that's the proximity sensor that's hidden beneath there. So clear view on the display as soon as I approach with the hand. Proximity sensor shows me, for example, new destination and stuff. Setup would be here in the right lower part for the GPS and GPS in general. You can scroll in and out like a smartphone here. Also see the responsive times, they are really great. And so a good result, really well usable, so it's not a problem. And you have those hotkeys on the right side, for example, for the main menu as well. And there, for example, it's everything quite intuitive set up. You can scroll with the knob here, but you can also scroll like this. So redundant ways. Here I can, for example, when I want to change the language to English, you see, it takes some long time to change it, but you don't do it like on a daily basis. But my main point is that you got several ways to reach your destination, either on the screen, then maybe with the menu hotkey, then again with this button, depending on your driving, if you're a co-driver or a driver, and how you want to control it. Because for some other infotainment screens, we only have one solution to do something. Telephone connection works either via Bluetooth. I just press find telephone, then I activate, go to the Bluetooth settings, for example, on the iPhone, then automatically finds it. That's no problem, but I don't want to do it for sound purposes now because there might be some interferences. Traffic information you can also see here, for example, if you have this higher spec GPS available. So overall, I think I'm very satisfied with this GPS in general. And now also comes with the update here that I can also use the Apple CarPlay. I've plugged it in with a USB slot below. Just press connect and it's here to allow it. And then we're already right here. Check my messages, someone who called me, and telephone, to check something. Also music. Here, and use this button to go like the home button always, and also use your own GPS, for example. And if you want to go back to the normal Volkswagen menu again, just go here, and then here you can go to the Apple CarPlay again. So easy solution, and that makes the car infotainment wise also ready for the future. There it is in front of the gear shifting lever. That's the USB connection I de-release now. And another new feature that is optionally available, we knew that already from the Volkswagen T6, the voice enhancer. That's when you want to talk to your kids in the rear, and that you don't have to raise your voice. I'm not sure if you can hear that on camera. Listen to the sound now, and when I put it to the full level, like this, level 10, well, we are hearing it right now, and it's kind of an echo, 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 because in the rear, the sound now also goes over the speakers, what I'm talking here in the front. The launch model is equipped with a lot of extras, but I said also higher in price. And for example, with PEC, it comes automatically. And option, you can also get a rear view camera. You can see it right here with a good resolution. So great! You can see the rear stepping pad here also from the rear view, and also have the sensors at the same time. So you kind of have both. AC unit. Well, it's really nothing special, but all just quite solid. You see they are also properly attached, don't wobble around a lot. See temperature right here. Vents you can control here or just on the auto mode, and so everything quite solid. Lower part, next to the 8-speed automatic gearbox, shifting lever, seat heating 2-level, then here to turn off the electronic stability control, can be useful off-road of course. For the rear axle, the differential lock, and off-road mode, that is also important. For example, that activates the hill descent control and also can build up some, some small hills from mud in front of the front tires, then that you get slower down the hill. Now also nicely introduced this frameless mirror, quite elegant feature for a rough car. And to the rear part, as I've told you earlier, this Amarok is set on the double cabin, so you also have a lot of space in the rear, not so much on the loading area, but that's of course always your wish. This here, especially the lounge model, is more set in on having very cool, high class, high equipment, high trim level pickup, which is passenger car alike, also have this kind of lifestyle feeling, because not always pickups are just bought for the loading area or for the off-road features, also as a lifestyle model. Here the seat as I would be driving, you see it does still fit with my knees, 1.86 m in height or 6'2". Still okay. I could have imagined a little bit more space, but head space wise that's really okay. So for me would be no problem here. I could also test the middle seat, because that one works quite well and might be good, for example, for your fellow workers when you're using it in a commercial way, because the middle seat is not like in other passenger cars where it's really like stiff. It's almost like a full third seat. It's a little bit slimmer, from the width, but it also is rather comfortable even as a middle seat. So that's also a good key finding here. And we've already made the interior dirty here with this construction site sand. What is interesting in the rear, you also get a 12-volt power supply here, and then are some you can find some beverage holders here, but they seem at first rather shallow, but then you can see here, flip that one out, and then you have a little bit more stability for your beverages here. You also have the possibility, if you get this strap and the other one at the other side, then pull them both, then you can flip the rear bench. And well, you might wonder why. Well, one possibility would be, for example, have to get out first, so it's a little bit complicated. Maybe do it with two people, then it's easier. If we do it like this, then maybe it's better to put things on here in the rear part, that you don't damage the seating surface. That would be one possibility. Or I'm sure, well, it doesn't seem like there's a version where you have a connection here, but maybe you have an idea why you would do that here. Welcome to the driving part, the new VW Amarok Facelift, the V6 Aventura special model. And as I said earlier, this one here, the top engine version, 224 horsepower from that V6 turbo. As we also, from a basic engine, have in the Q7, for example. But they have told us, mentioned it earlier as well, that they haven't drawn so much power from the car that it's more durable. And you do feel that because I have driven that V6 diesel so far, and it's not that explosive as in the other cars, of course, and this is also a very heavy car, but it's also not a good, you cannot say it's a bad thing. I think it's rather even a good thing, because when the engine is more durable, maybe it's okay to have a little bit less power. I mean, which way would you go for? More power or more durability, possibly? I think especially in this segment here, more durability is more important. So I have driven this Amarok here, as it's not an all-new generation, but it's a facelift with notable changes, as we've presented to you. I have driven the old one before as well, so I still have, I can and say how it really was feeling, also engine-wise and so on. And so I was really looking forward to go on this test ride here today. As you've seen, we also have this additional headlights mounted, and they are for the high beam. Now on the motorway, I could activate the high beam and activate the upper lights, and everyone was saying, like, "Oh my God, what's behind me? Is there an airplane landing or whatever?" But I'm not doing it here; it's not allowed. But it would be cool if we could use it. I mean, we've just shown you, and it's a cool show-off feature, definitely. But there's one disadvantage to it, and those are higher wind noises. And well, if you're at lower speeds, you don't really feel it, but the more speed you get, you might hear a little bit of it. At the moment, we're at 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour. And what is the dB meter showing? (72 dB on our dB meter, which is not the most exact dB meter. We are not dB meter experts, but just to give you a hint that it's not only like my subjective feeling. 72 dB at 100 kilometers an hour is, I think, a very good value in general. I'm quite surprised with that, because this one here is a commercial vehicle, and for that it's relatively silent indeed. And also, if you compare it to other pickups we have driven, this one, I can already tell you so far, is the one that feels most passenger car alike. If you're more a fan of really huge trucks, maybe that's something you don't like. But it's really easy to drive. So if you want to have a pickup because it's very cool, or maybe if you really need it or want to have it for a motocross bike, or well, put your Euro pellet on the rear part, and still you don't want this total truck driver feeling. You want to have it easy, and with an easy steering, easy control, and a good overview and such, then I think it's a very good choice. See the steering here, there's a new Servotronic optional steering available that makes the steering way easier now. It's not as direct as in Volkswagen passenger cars, so you have to have a wider steering angle for your steering commands, but it's really easy to steer, and that's one of the main difference to other pickups trucks I've driven. There you really had to work with the steering wheel a lot, and here it's really easy. So for example, like when I'm in the parking lot, I have to go up front and back again, and turning the wheel right way then left way again. That's really totally easy with that one here. Also, there have been a lot of discussion about V6 and the R4. So because everyone is going downsizing, here they are upsizing. And I think it's good for the car. And I'm very conscious about the environment and sustainability, but it's not always good to downsize the engine and then get more horsepower from it, because it runs at higher RPMs, and that creates those very, very tiny particles which can cause cancer. And so it also can make sense in an environmental sense if you go a little bit more displacement but less horsepower, and don't let the engine run at such high RPMs. Exactly that they're doing right here now, and the official consumption figure is just below 8 liters on 100 kilometers, lower than with the 4 liter and with the 4-cylinder engine. We will have here, also a test ride showing you the consumption. I cannot tell anything yet, but when we finish our test ride, I can tell you more where we land here in our driving test. That will also be very exciting, so stay tuned for that. Overall, the engine definitely feels more refined. You have a calmer ride because you don't need to hammer the throttle that much. You can let it run at lower RPMs as well. And that also makes you calmer when riding. You also have this upright seating position, which does a very good job. Also here going in the roundabout. Well, steering, you see, that is still thinking of the off-road riding, because if it's just would be for road driving, you wouldn't need such steering angles. But thinking of off-road customers, they've set it in a way that you can more precisely direct the car, because in off-road riding it can help you when it's not like, when you put the steering like 3-4 degrees. It's better when the wheel's not directly turned that much. Off-road savvy rider will know what I mean. So they try to find a compromise here. I think it's quite well done as well. About acceleration at higher speeds, for example here when we go like 70 kilometers to 100, let's go now. There it is. You've heard it, the engine also wasn't turning up so loud. I mean, it's a V6, so that's not a big exercise for this engine, and good power. 0 to 100 kilometers or 0 to 60 miles an hour figure is 7.9 seconds. That's really a value where normal non-pickup cars are usually landing with good engines. So reasonable power really for this car. So also on the motorway you won't have any problem, or even if you have this maximum towing capacity of 3.5 tons or 1 ton on the loading area, loading capacity. And a lot of people buying this car will probably also put a trailer behind it, or have motocross bikes mounted on the loading area, or some whatever you want to transport. And so that's also an important thing. And this V6 definitely won't have a problem with that. And a lot of customers here of the Amarok so far demanded a bigger engine, and they were surely also thinking, well, the 2-liter diesel, not the best-selling image factor at Volkswagen. So it's maybe also not a bad choice to go for the V6 here, definitely. When we're going at mediocre speeds here, 80 kilometers an hour, going some right left, the car is not tilting too much, although we have an off-road suspension here. That's a good feeling. And again, I can just stress, I don't feel like being in a very rough off-road truck, and to me that's a good thing, because it just makes for a more comfortable ride. I had some other pickup trucks where I was thinking, okay, yeah, great for off-road riding, great to put stuff in the rear and loading area, but then imagine like going on a road trip 5-6 hours through Germany. Well, maybe not the best suitable one, but here I could very well imagine it. Upright seating position, therefore it's also very comfortable from the seats. They've also altered the seating layout, so you have a more comfortable seating, and that the engine is relatively silent, not screaming that much, and also the wind noise are really okay. And maybe they would be even a little bit lower if we had this lamps on the top. Yeah, I'm hearing something that comes from the upper part that could exactly be the lamps. So only go for that if you're really in the Australian outback and want to have a lot of light. There's maybe no light at all outside in the night. You're middle of the jungle or in the outback and really need to see what's coming in front of you. Then it's a great feature for you. Everyone else, I think, better go for the better wind coefficient on the exterior than having the posing feature. Although it looks great, but you have to decide what's more important to you. So running straight, really a good result, and feels better than the previous non-facelift version. From seating, interior, also from the refinement from the infotainment stream, you can better access it, and also engine-wise and of course power-wise as well. Here again to see if I'm going some right-left. The car also feels relatively agile for a pickup truck, so you don't feel this very long wheelbase. It's not like you think you're driving a bus. And for example, I've also driven long transporters, back in the days also for transporting some motorcycles, and that felt way different, although maybe the length is probably the same, or maybe just a little bit longer. So here also, if you have driven a normal passenger car so far, I'm just saying, oh, it's really cool with a pickup. It's no problem, you can go for it. You won't have such a different driving feeling. You just need to have the space wherever you want to park this Amarok here. As long as you get the PDC or also rear view camera, that also helps you, of course. By the way, the rear visibility is very good with this frameless back mirror. I really like that. Looks elegant. Presently do that in the interior, and also a good view to the rear, as you know, we got a completely 90-degree rear window. And that accounts really for a good overview. Also to the sides, all windows are standing upright, and therefore I really know where the car is ending, even if I wouldn't have any camera assist and so on. Also the side mirrors are really huge, so maybe not even a blind spot warner is necessary here. I think it doesn't even exist, but also, as I said, not really necessary, because you can really see everything here in those huge mirrors. So overall, really a good car. And as for road driving, I think it's the best pickup truck I have driven so far, the most comfortable one, definitely. And let's check out the consumption. 8.7 liters on 100 kilometers on our test ride on the road. A very good result, just a little bit above the official figure, and for a V6 diesel, really good. And as a contrast to this Ravenna Blue, here also just a pure white one. So which one do you like best? Of course, also other colors are available. And now we're going to move forward to our off-road driving part. And we switch the vehicles because those ones here are equipped with special off-road tires. You can also drive them on the street. Otherwise, it would also not be possible that you got the normal registration in the front. But if you take a closer look here very soon at the tires, you can see that they are a little bit higher in the profile, and there's also some more interesting thing here to see in the rear. So higher profile here, and it really depends on if you're more using it for road driving, then you use the normal road tires. If you're quite often riding off-road, then it's better to pick ones with a high profile. And you see they also have this X structure that also stuff can fly out of the wheels again. Well, you could say it's a hearse. I also think that the normal pickup setup looks way cooler, but for some this one maybe handier than, not for those that want to transport off-road two-wheelers on there, but maybe if you want to put stuff in and have it covered against rain, then it's maybe a good solution. Let's take a look at it in detail. So you open first this cover here. You can also close it with the key. Echo, echo, hello, hello. And then normal the hatch. There it is, and then you have really a closed compartment here. You can also open the windows from the inside. Well, if you have something to transport which has to be protected against rain. And another interior design color in gray. Approximately that way it would also be looking like if you have the Alcantara on the inside, gray Alcantara on the inside, for example. But here again, test vehicles are most often equipped with jean leather because manufacturers think that's the most luxurious one. I don't think so. And now let's start our off-road ride. As I said, we just have other tires mounted, everything else is the same. And well, this is one advantage of the V6 as well, as we have more power. We also don't have to turn up the RPMs that much. That's also good for off-road riding. We now pick the off-road mode. That activates the hill descent control. Works from 2 kilometers an hour until 30. And if you just leave the foot off everything, then it gets activated in the off-road mode just. And if you want to roll down the hill a little bit faster, then just press the throttle gently, and if you want to go slower again, the brakes. So it's a good solution. You can compare it to the Land Rover one, for example. There you can set the speed at the steering wheel, but here also with brake and throttle works as well. Starting here with some rocks on the ground, see we get shaken around a little bit, but what I'm feeling already right now, wow, the suspension is really soft for the off-road riding, and so it doesn't feel rough at all. So it was already rough terrain and was really feeling, you know, like riding almost with the air suspension, but it's not, of course. Here, first uphill, looks very steep, really. You almost see a wall, and see, we go up like 2000 RPM. That's totally enough. Wow, masters that very well. And here you can see I can now very well steer in off-road. That's maybe good that I don't have like this extreme turning angles, because if then the steering wheel at an obstacle gets, you know, drawn around, then like this is not turning the wheels totally, it's just slightly. So for off-road riding it's better. Now, first descent, still get my foot on the brakes, and now I'll release my foot and see, nothing is happening. I'm just rolling down the hill very, very slowly, just like 2-3 kilometers, very, very slowly. Does that very well. And if I want to roll down fast, I hit the throttle just a little bit, and you see that the speed is increasing just a little bit. So you can, if you're very gentle with the throttle, then you can control that very, very well. Quite convinced of that solution as well. First was thinking, well, better with the Land Rover because you can set the descent speed at the steering wheel. But here, I think they've also found a good solution, just using it with the foot as you're normally used to. Now, very steep hill and also with some loose rock surface. Again, I'll go about 2000 RPM. Wow, we're really crossing into the sky. And another one here. Wow, it's really so steep. It must be like, I don't know, I'm not an expert on like degrees something, but it's like this. Really steep. Four-wheel drive action all the way. I'm almost like launching into the sky. Wow. Really impressive. And well, the most impressive thing is, first of all, this diesel, the big diesel, really massive. It's, you know, without any like, it's really keeping very calm. And the suspension, again, it's that soft that it feels so comfortable, like driving on the street. So I can already tell you right now, it's one of the most comfortable off-road cars I've driven so far. So we had great off-road cars, very capable off-road cars already, a lot of times. But here, this one is so comfortable when driving it. Now getting here on very soft stuff, you can go a little bit faster. There's another Amarok colleague, another color driving. So, and heading to another descent where we have very soft ground. And this will be interesting now as well, because here the hill descent control can really also work together with this off-road anti-blocking system. And that means that now, when it's very loose ground here, that in front of the tires, you know, there's a small hills get built that also reduce the speed of the car when rolling down. That's also an important factor. Again, here you don't have to be an off-road expert. When the hill descent control is active, you see here, I can lift my foot off. And now if I want to go fast at the lower part of the hill, just press the throttle a little bit, I can go like 15 kilometers an hour. Also here, for example, this corner, I cannot get around it in one turn with the automatic gearbox, reverse gear. Also when you're like at uneven ground, rear view camera, I can see that I don't touch the rear berm. And to the front again, easy steering. That's also a big advantage. And well, some pure off-road experts or guys want to have the manual gearbox and off-road reduction. But here also with the automatic gearbox, it's so easy to do it, especially if you go back and forth, and you can easily get the car under control. That's absolutely no problem then. So getting up, we can go faster here. And now it gets really rough. That's interesting. Look at, maybe if you do wobbling around, but again, really fun stuff. You know, I'm also an off-road guy, more like at two wheels, but it's always a lot of fun doing that here. And even here, tricky situation, I have to go back again, looking at the rear view camera, also going up, because with the automatic gearbox, you don't have to be afraid, you know, with the clutch and stuff. you cannot roll back or forward. Not much is really happening there, so you're always quite safe with that. So we have to wait just a minute that we can go to the next passage. We'll be right back for you. And we continue again and put in the rear differential lock as well, because now we will lift up some vehicles from the ground, and that will be very exciting. Always looks very spectacular, of course, when some wheels are lifting up from the ground. So let's go here. Now we have to go slow that we don't get any ground damage. Right here, and very slowly again. Straight. And you see, like this, another wheel in the air, and we're switching the wheels up, and you hear it also that some of the tires lose traction, but wow, that's really impressive that the car's handling that. So taking off the rear differential lock again, now we can move freely, because when we here now, for example, again in a corner, then it's better if the rear differential lock is not in place, because in a corner, of course, the speed of the tires is always different. I think you feel that I really like off-road riding, especially now when it goes a little bit faster. Now again, an upper section with some loose stuff. That's something to enjoy, really. And again, how easy this car is to steer. I mean, it's not a short car, and I somehow feel it's easier to control than some of the smaller cars we've driven before, but that might also just be the reason because those small cars were not that off-road capable. So let's go a little bit faster here now. See, this off-road gear also doesn't allow so high speeds in general, doesn't have to be as well. Like here again, when we got loose stuff, like sand, a little bit of gravel on the road. And let's see if we can make this corner in one turn. Does that work? I think so. Yeah, that should work. Just slowly, nothing is happening. And there it is. Are you enjoying this off-road ride with me? Extensive off-road riding part, you know, I know you like that, guys. So you see also in off-road mode is kept in low gears always, that the engine brake can be used. Now we heard the car shifter, but I can also control it, for example, at the steering wheel with the shifting pads here. And now we go sideways, put the car sideways that we can look out of the window. And that's always, you know, very scary stuff, because here you can just see the sky, and in the right part you can pick some flowers off the ground, and that is really always very scary stuff. And well, the basis of the vehicle, you know, the ground weight is really placed very low, and so you might think, oh, the vehicle tips over like this. It feels like almost like 45 degrees, something like that, for, you know, normal conceivement. But it doesn't, because the center of gravity is that low with that vehicle, and then you're perfectly safe here as well. And of course, that's good to know. So, yeah, That was a lot of fun doing it here. Just one or two more descents, small uphills. We're going right here, getting some loose stuff. I think I could do this all day, be it on 2 or be it on 4 wheels. This one here, of course, a special 4-wheel track. So now through the small whoops, which are famous also in motocross riding, but here just 2 of them. Cars have more problems with it. Slowly through this. So I think they have proven that this car is also very off-road capable and had a lot of fun with it. I hope you've enjoyed our off-road experience here as well. And now the conclusion, Volkswagen Amarok facelift, here also the special model Aventura. Really likable pickup, and especially in this color and this setup, looks really great on the exterior. From the exterior, definitely I think my favorite pickup so far. Only too bad that in the interior we just got the leather seats here with the launch model. But in the normal versions you can go for any other options we've mentioned as well. They've also refined the interior, for example with the multimedia update. That's also a good choice, and I think it was also the right decision to go for the V6 here now. Even if I am a sustainability guy, as I said earlier, it's not always making sense just to downsize and put the horsepower up. So this is also a good solution here, because we rather keep in the lower RPMs as well. Yeah, overall I think it's a very good facelift they have done here. So a lot of stuff has been improved, and not only changed the headlights and that's it. So in some cases facelifts are rather minor. This one here I think is definitely notable. And I think they've suited this car here also for the global markets. 500,000 have been sold so far from 2009. And now I think it will increase, because also, other customers who beforehand searched some stronger pickups, maybe with more off-road features or also with the bigger engines, will now also become aware more of the Volkswagen Amarok. I want to hear your feedback, of course, and mine main feedback is I think it's the most comfortable pickup there is, and also very suitable for road driving. Thank you very much for watching Autogefühl. Tell us your comments about exterior, interior and what we've shown you on and off-road. I hope to see you at the next Autogefühl episode.